as a fitness coach, you probably come across this issue. You're either having quite a few people who aren't turning up to the calls, or when they do turn up, they just want to know the price. So the ideal thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are disqualifying people even before they get on the call. Because remember, you're spending anywhere from 20 to 60 minutes on that call, and you really want to protect your time. So what I'm going to do in this is I'm going to lay the foundations to exactly how you can do this, so that you're only getting on the phone with people who are actually interested in what you have, not just really price shoppers or freebie seekers. So when it comes to the process, you need to really follow this right here, because this is going to allow you to actually have people who are excited for the call, because that's number one. If somebody is not excited to jump on that phone with you, and they're like, kind of maybe, it's not going to be a good experience for you, it's not going to be a good experience for them. They're just after one thing: hey, what's the price? I'm price shopping. That's what happens 9 times out of 10. So this is what we do. So first and foremost, you want to look, do they have a clear goal? Because if they don't have a clear goal, then how are you going to help them? Now, when you want to think about this from a fitness perspective, is you want to think about, what is it I help my ideal avatar with? Is it gaining strength? Is it losing 25 pounds of fat? Is it, body composition? Is it getting ready for competition? Because if, for example, somebody comes in, a lady, let's say you're a competition coach, and a lady comes in and she wants to lose fat, more times out of likely, you can help them, but with your avatar, do you want to help them? So if they come in and you're like, no, this is not the type of person I want to work with, from there, the goals allow you to filter from the start. But let's say it's a lady comes in and they want to lose fat, and then you help specifically women that lose fat. Okay, boom, tick number 1, done. The next thing you want to ask, and you want to directly link this question to the goal, because when you link the motivation question, their pain question, to the goal, it actually allows those parts to connect. Because what I see some setters do is they ask the goal, and then they ask, why are you struggling? What do you feel is missing? And that's gonna lose that link, and it makes it harder to actually get into that motivational part. So straight after the goal, you'll ask, why is this important to you? The reason for this is we want to directly link their goal to the motivation, because when you directly link, let me just make this bigger. So when you directly link the goal to the motivation, what this does is, the reason why they're going to pay you is their problem. That's it. And the bigger the problem, the more somebody is willing to pay to solve that problem. So if they have a small problem, well, they'll pay you $100. However, if this is life-threatening, then you think about how much surgery costs, or how much help. Let's say they've got a problem with their heart, and they need to lose the weight, get healthy again, because it's going to actually help them with a heart condition. Are they going to pay you 2, 3, 4, 5,000 for that? Or they're going to pay hundreds of thousands to the doctor? Again, then it outweighs. And again, if it's coming to their life and health as well, the surgery might just be a quick fix, but the long-term fix is actually working with you and making sure that they're able to help themselves for the long term. Because again, no one wants to die. Right? And that's kind of that on the higher end, but it does come in. Or it might be confidence. All right, why do you want to be confident? Well, I want to be attracted to men. Well, why would that be? Well, and she might not tell you this, but in the back of that lady's mind, it's like, I haven't been able to attract, like when I walk past men, I feel invisible. And you think about that, and you go to the deeper levels of this. When a woman would feel that, like, I feel invisible to men, no one looks at me because of how I look. A lot of people would think, oh, you can't say that. But when you look at the deep psychological level of how that woman will think, it's like, would she pay to actually change that situation? Yes, she would. How much would she pay to actually be finally seen by men again? Men like going, just having that quick look. Again, that's that type of thing. Again, same thing on the men's side. Maybe a guy is not able to hold his head high when he walks into a room. And he's maybe overweight and he's been self-conscious about this for years. Every time he walks in, maybe nobody's looking at him, but at the same time he has that thing in the back of his head, oh, maybe these guys are looking at me, maybe these guys are judging me. If I get into the shape, if I have the shape, I look good, I'm actually then going to potentially be noticed, or I might get promoted, or again, there's deeper reasons behind why they want to achieve the goal. And the bigger that pain is for them, and again, everybody's pain perception is different, but the deeper this goes, the more likely somebody is going to buy your program, or buy your mentorship, buy your one-on-ones, because at that point they have this pain. But again, this directly links into the next one, which is, do they think you can help them? Do they trust you? Do you have enough results? Because here's the thing. If somebody has a goal, if somebody has pain, but they do not believe that you can help them, they're going to be like, nah, this guy's not for me, or this girl's not for me. They're going to go and look for somebody else that they feel can help them. Because here's the thing, they have a problem, but all they're doing is looking for that person that can actually help them with the problem that they're having. And if they trust what if the pain's big enough and the problem is big enough, and two, if they trust you can help them, it becomes a no-brainer for them to actually go and then work with you. So again, this part right here is, if you don't have these three parts in place, there's no point moving it forward. Because if they don't have a clear goal, if they don't have a big enough pain, and again, a lot of the pain, and again, this is arbitrary, is some of the pain they're not going to tell you fully in the DMs, but they're going to tell you enough that's like, okay, you know what, this person's good for a call, I can move on to the next stage. And if they don't feel that you can help them, then there's no way to waste your time on these people, because they're not at a point where they believe that you can help them, and they have big enough, that would be a problem, and they don't believe you can help them. So what's the point in actually jump on a call? However, if they have big enough pain and they believe you can help them, move on to the next stage. So what is that next stage? And let me just come down now. Yeah, I love this type of stuff. All right, so next is a priority for them. Now, this priority, it directly links to their pain. Now, when it comes to this, the bigger the problem, the more likely somebody is going to make time. Because the only reason why somebody doesn't have time is if it's not important for them. Think about yourself. In your day, you have the same 24 hours. Okay, sleep is important, so we're going to sleep for 7 or 8 hours. That's very important. But then what we do with the rest of them 16 hours? We're allocating that time to things that are important to us in our lives. So it's very, very important that we make this as big as possible, because then it becomes a no-brainer for them to have the time. So hopefully that made sense. All right, go on to the next one. Ready to invest and ready to take action. So this again, it links to this. This is why this is the most important part when it comes to the whole process, because if this is big enough, then these three right here, they become no-brainers. Like, is the pain big enough? Yes. Are you ready to big time for it? Are you ready to invest in it? Yes. Are you ready to take action now? Yes. Fantastic. And it comes down to the pain level. Now, the only one that is a little bit outside of this is income level. Now, what this comes down to is disposable income. So if somebody's making, let's say $40,000 a year, and you have to take taxes, you have to think of, how they're paying for their daily lives, rent, food, if they've got children, all that kind of stuff. Now, if they're making $40,000 per year versus somebody that is making $100,000, who has more disposable income? So you want to be thinking about that as well. You want to think about how much is your program and how much disposable income does that person have? Because the more disposable income somebody has, the higher they value something, or the higher they value items, because they have more money to spend on those items. So that's the last factor you need to look at, is like, what is the income level? And this really comes down to you when it comes down to you originally planning out your avatar, is if you go after the right market, the market is going to determine the amount of money that they have. And the more money they have, the easier it is to sell. Especially when it comes to you selling programs which are $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, even $10,000. Because you have to think, if someone's making $50,000 and you want them to pay for like 12-month program for 10 grand, even, let's put it even a 6-month program for 5,000, that's 10% of their salary. Versus somebody who makes 100,000, that's 5%. And at the same time, they've probably got about 40 grand disposable per year. Give or take, after tax, maybe 30 grand. So is that doable for them? Yeah. So this in a nutshell is really the foundations. If you understand this, the rest of the setting process becomes easy, because yes, you have scripts, yes, you have other aspects which is tracking, all that kind of stuff. But if you understand this right here, can you help them, and the type of objections that come up, then it makes things 10 times easier. And again, the only reason why these would come up is if the motivation isn't high enough. Because you know yourself that in the past, you may have done this, right? You might not have had much money, but you're like, you know what, this is so important to me. My pain is big enough. I'm willing to go and get credit cards. I'm willing to go and get in debt to actually pay for this. So again, it comes down to how big is the pain, because the bigger the pain, the more somebody is actually willing to go and find the money, even if they're at a lower income bracket. So hopefully this helped. And if you have any questions, let me know below, because I really want to help you with your coaching business. I want to make sure that you're able to get the foundation in place. You're actually able to grow your coaching business in the right way. Now, if you have any questions, comment below, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, also, if you like this, give me a subscribe and like the video. All right, talk soon.